Check this out. Video shows reinstated Tennessee State Rep Justin Jones stopping cars and assaulting drivers in the summer of 2020. This is what I'm talking about. So we were just talking about this idea of useless people. You've got two trains of thought happening right now. This, what's it, Yuval Harari, is that his name?
Yeah. Yuval Noah Harari, yeah.
Noah Harari. He's talking about these useless eaters, but these are like the Davos group people who are more, you know, I don't know, comic book villainy. But I do think that there may be a separate perspective on how to deal with the problem. Their view, I think, is dark. The global, the Davos group, all this stuff, they're like, you will own nothing and you will be happy. My view of dealing with the useless eaters, or whatever it is he calls them, is to provide purpose and meaning.
Exactly.
So I look at this story. This story is extremely important because this is an elected Democrat state rep, I believe, state rep, who is attacking vehicles in the summer of 2020 and then gets elected to office. This guy reportedly assaulted members of the Tennessee legislature in 2019, throwing coffee at them, hot coffee, and was banned from the Capitol building. He is a violent extremist who now holds a seat of power. And when he was expelled for joining the insurrection, the Tennessee Capitol, they reinstate him. I do not see our system maintaining itself if these people are taking seats of power. And I warned this would happen in 2018. People told me I was crazy when I said this stuff will reach the highest levels of government. Next stop, federal government. And what happens when you have Antifa, violent Antifa extremists getting elected to Congress, which is already on the horizon? I mean, AOC is on the borderline of being a far left extremist. Granted, she still plays ball with the establishment, but next up, the next 4 years, the next 8 years, we're going to start seeing psychopaths like this sitting in the Senate. And they're going to be advocating and defending more violence like this. Then the system breaks.
Well, one of the things, and there's a lot about this story that's shocking, but that this story is only really covered, as far as I could find, on the post-millennial. If this was the opposite party, it would be not only legacy and mainstream media across America, it would be worldwide news. That is, imagine that there was a Republican who was involved in January 6th, actually part of that. We would never hear the end of it.
They tried making that the narrative, saying that people like Marjorie Taylor Greene was giving tours or something, trying to insinuate that there was pre-planning on behalf of the Republicans, which is all just utter nonsense. Yeah. But yes, if this was any Republican, it would be international
And
headlines.
Why don't the Democrats just come out and condemn it? It's simple. Condemn it, and then they'll look more reasonable.
You know what I think? Have you seen Kingsman, the first one, the movie?
Years ago.
So the villain is a tech billionaire who believes the world is overpopulated. So he wants to preserve all of the wealthy individuals that he likes and gives them these devices to protect them, and then gives away free cell phones, which when he can press a button, they'll emit a sound that makes everybody go crazy and kill each other. It's really funny how they make this movie. And this guy is like, the earth is overpopulated, so it's giving itself a fever and it's killing everybody. That's basically how he talks. I'm imitating him. And so the premise of the movie is tech billionaire wants to kill billions of people to save the earth. Then you look at stuff like this and you're like, why is it that, you know, these Davos group individuals, these billionaires and these Democrats don't understand that their policies destroy cities, that they're supporting violent people? Why is it that you get a video of a dude filling a black garbage bag with products at a Walgreens and you can't do anything to stop him? It's like, because they're on the side of the villain in the movie Kingsman. Their mentality is, let the system be destroyed by itself to save the planet.
Tim, I think you're onto something quite interesting there philosophically, because most of the great evils, if not the vast majority, taken out in the world were people who philosophically believed they were doing the right thing. The communists, Stalin, thought he was doing the right thing. I'm sure there were psychopaths amongst them. Perhaps Hitler was one. The Nazis, they thought they were doing the right thing, and that's how they're able to do such evil. If you believe you're doing the right thing, you can do the absolute unimaginable atrocities. And I think that analogy of the Kingsman probably apt for that.
And that's just it. These people
they're doing good.
The useless eaters that guy describes. This is how he views them. And so what better way to reduce, you know the saying is, you are the carbon they are trying to reduce. What better way than let the system fall apart? Stop maintaining it, let it fall, and you'll cut population down, or at least population growth. And I'll put it this way. Bill Gates has a TED Talk where he says if we work hard enough in these areas, we can reduce population growth by, what do you say, like 10 or 15% or something like that? Now, a lot of people immediately came out and said, he's talking about reducing population by 10 or 15%. No. He said population growth. His whole bit publicly is too many people are coming too fast. Let's slow that down. But of course,
it's the opposite is true, by the way.
Well, my point is that position makes no sense. You can't be like, we have too many people. Let's just have too many people slower. You either think there's too many people and there should be less of them, or you don't think there's too many people. But continue.
Well, the real problem and the thing that I am most concerned about everything is population decline. That we're going to have an aging population with, and this is happening now across the world, where I think most of the countries, if I'm not mistaken, you might need to fact check me on this, are now population growth is in decline. So even in Africa now, the average amount of children per family has gone from 7 to 4, I say, and it's going in that direction. What you're then going to have is an old population who are not working, having to be supported by the working population, which is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And what happens in that
old people die.
Old people die, but it continues. That phenomenon continues as the population declines. In fact, Hungary is the only country in the world that are implementing policy to encourage mothers to have more children, and that should be far more concerning to the elite. Not Hungary.
Poland is too, and so is China.
Is that right?
Why would it be concerning to the people who want less people? The global elites, the people like Bill Gates who come out and say there should be less people, are probably happy to hear that there's less people. And I think the answer to this is very, very simple for anybody who's listening. There's two things you can do. Everyone says, Tim, what can I do? I hear about all these bad things. What is going on here? Two very, very simple things you can do. The first, don't buy Anheuser-Busch products. No more Budweiser, no more Bud Light. I think Michelob's in there, Modelo, Shiner Bock. Get it all out of there, figure it out, and buy a different beer brand. It sounds absurd, but that's true. But more importantly, the real point I was going to make is have a bunch of babies.
What you mentioned,
have 10 babies.
What you mentioned is happening, but it's happening on a grander level in the Western world. So populations aren't replacing the population that is dying off, especially in places like Europe, especially in places like Japan. And these crashes are going to have significant ramifications, not just for the economy, but for society in large. And when you look at the actual numbers, you look at the actual stats, we're not dealing with too many people. We're dealing with a problem that's going to be very severe because of too little of people. And Elon Musk talks about this all the time. Bill Gates still, for some reason, Klaus Schwab and a lot of elites, too many people in this world. And when you look at all these kind of soft policies, when you look at policies that could be described as fifth generational warfare, especially when it comes to people not having a family unit, especially when it comes to people cutting off their reproductive organs, when it comes to people being poisoned by microplastics or seed oils or chemicals that are incentivized and, of course, paid for by tax subsidies, all of those things coalesce under situations and circumstances where people are less fertile, having less babies, having less families. And this is really reaching a crescendo moment that's going to be tragic, not only for the future generations, but the future of the earth, which is going to have civilizational collapse very soon if this is not addressed. And the only countries addressing it is Hungary, Poland, and China that I've seen personally.
We don't need the government to address it. We need honest, moral people with good morals to just have babies.
We need both. But I also say there's geopolitical ramifications as well. Louise Perry has just written about this on Unheard. Currently, South Korea is in massive population decline. North Korea is still growing. So we'll be in a position, and I forget in how many decades, but not very long, where North Korea's population will be twice as much as South Korea. They'll be able to walk in. They'll just take over. It's geopolitically, it's a massive issue.
It's a huge issue. It's going to be tragic. It's going to be absolutely horrible because the trajectory that we're going on, especially with not just reproductive care or abortion, but more specifically with testosterone levels and sperm levels dropping dramatically to the point where
that's shocking.
Where people and some experts are saying we could soon reach a point in time in our lifetimes where males can't reproduce.
There's a crazy visualization. Serge, I don't know if you can pull this up, but if you search Engadget humans in a pile, it's basically a visualization of what all the humans, if they were just put into a pile, would look like.
Oh, like where it's like a big mound on.
Yeah, it's like a big mound. Yeah, and it's just there's
a lot of people.
But it's not But the point being, it's not that much space.
Right. Yeah. Here's what I think is going on. I think these powerful Davos type elites don't really care all that much about too many people. They care specifically about the useless eaters.
Yeah.
If these people were all doing functional tasks, then we would have, like, I'll put it this way. Maybe they don't believe, I don't know. These people seem to be crazy and out of their minds. If every person on this planet had a specialty and filled the quota of their economic requirement, meaning, let's say Earth could handle, 100 million rocket engineers. If every single person, if every single job in that was filled, and every single person was doing a legitimate job that advanced human civilization, we would be colonizing other planets already. We'd have warp drive. The problem is large portions of humans on this planet do nothing. And that's what these people think. They become nightmarish, despotic psychopaths who think, let's just get rid of people.
Yeah,
where the solution is, we should educate the next generation, give them purpose and give them morals, and craft the mechanisms by which humans become useful eaters.
That's actually what they want, I think. And what the concern is the age of automation we're entering a fourth industrial revolution now where artificial intelligence is taking over people's jobs. We'll have less need for human labor. And they are very concerned about the useless eaters revolting or losing their mind. They don't have enough.
This happened with the Luddites.
What exactly?
During the Industrial Revolution, people were like, I will not have this. And then you get the Luddites, people who just opposed the advancements.
I kind of disagree with you guys. I think they're more of a destructive force. I think they're more sociopathic. I think they're more deranged than you guys give them credit to, because even if everyone was productive and had a purpose and had a belief system and all that, I think throughout human history, there have always been a group of individuals or one individual trying to take control of the entire world. I think this is what it's really about at the end of the day. I think it's about control. I think it's about enslavement. No matter what we do, there is always going to be a group of sociopathic individuals trying to control everything for themselves, either for demonic reasons or just human reasons.
Now we'll stop and ask ourselves, what is going through their mind if that is the case? What is their goal and what is their desire? Is their desire something as one-dimensional as I just want to control things? Or is their goal something like I want eternal life?
There's another aspect to it, and I think this applies to Davos, is the banality of evil, which is that you have, for example, at Davos, you have a lot of politicians who are thinking, what am I going to do after I'm kicked out of office? I need a high-paying job. And then you have a lot of the corporates who are there who have a ton of money, but don't have the power that the politicians have, so they want to be there. So they have their own individual personal ambitions, which is driving them there. They might not be thinking, how do I control the world? Some of them, I'm sure, are thinking that, but I think a lot of them are thinking, how do I make my life better? And so they go along with what ends up being evil sort of phenomena of evil groups like that.
I have a feeling if we do create purpose and productivity, that it will take some of the burden off of Klaus Schwab's mind. Because I don't look at him as like a violent psychopath that wants to burn. I think they're trying to prevent World War III, and they're desperate. And so they're like, put them in pods. I don't know.
What? But look, it doesn't matter.
I mean, I disagree
benefit of the doubt at the very least.
I disagree
look at this guy attacking the motorist, right? This guy thinks he's stopping World War III. This guy thinks he's stopping climate change. But he's clearly a deranged psychopath who's doing nothing but attacking random innocent motorists.
Yeah,
Klaus Schwab's no different.
Yeah, he thinks he's doing good, but what he doesn't know, or he's taking a risk on, is that centralizing authority has never really worked on the human experiment.
But it has always been something that many people have tried to achieve throughout human history, and no matter how many people they slaughter and enslave, that is always their end goal, and has always been their end goal. And to think that this doesn't exist now when it existed all throughout human history is very naive, because now with the technology, now with so much power, with so much influence, with so much wealth concentrated against so many few individuals, they have an abundant amount of resources. They have quantum computing, they have artificial intelligence, they have new technology that could essentially help them live forever, while everyone else is going to be, of course, enslaved to this system that they're building all around us. And when we look at what they're incentivizing and we look at what they're attacking, what are they attacking? They're attacking religion. They're attacking purpose. They're attacking labor. They're attacking the middle class. They're attacking any human beings being productive, doing good things. What are they incentivizing? Social justice warrior woke causes like this. They're incentivizing a divide and conquer agenda that has people fighting each other. They're incentivizing a system that is essentially order out of chaos and creating this horrible situation where we're fighting each other and not even having real deep discussion discussions about how big the rabbit hole goes and who's really in charge.
Because they don't want to be challenged.
Exactly.
You're right about the control, but I think they're more like the villain from Kingsman. They want people to erase themselves.
My question though
And
is
they are.
who's they? I mean, it's kind of tongue in cheek.
Davos? Klaus
Exactly.
Schwab?
Like Klaus
Bill Gates?
maybe has one motive, but Xi Jinping has another motive, and Joe Biden has a motive, and
Putin?
together, like maybe one of them is a
They're
violent
all
psychopath.
like mafia crime families, but they understand that if one family or if something else threatens the alliance or the game that they're playing, that they take them out. So when you look at everything, it's multiple factors, it's multiple organizations working together, and they have a shared goal. And obviously, sometimes they fight within each other, but they always make sure that the game continues and the game is rigged against you.
One of the reasons that the problems they identify are, for example, not poverty, but inequality, or let's say it's the environmental crisis, is because those are issues that cannot be solved, the problems that they identify, that cannot be solved from the ground up. Rather, we need to hand over our power to the technocrats. And that's maybe where the power thing comes into play, that I think I probably agree with you.
As they're funneling and fueling the problems. Look at George Soros and how much money he's throwing at district attorneys. What has been the cause of George Soros spending about $1 million on every district attorney? What has happened?
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.